I think you've got to take yourself out of the picture, number one.
Mhm.
And it's virtually impossible to anticipate every need of a client, but you
Mhm.
run down the road, you ask the right questions, you find out about them. It's great that I've
Yeah.
done what I've done in my career. It's great that I've got the book. All those things are great, but that's not what it's about.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great podcast. Today, I'm Melanie Johnson, your host for the Elite Expert Insider. And I am so happy to have one of my favorite people in the world, Lary Barton, today as a guest on here. He is probably one of the kindest, most considerate people that I know, but he just brings people together. He is known in every circle as the connector, and he is such a great listener. When you are in the room with Larry and he is talking to you, you feel like you are the only person in the world, but he has a story to tell, and he has been so successful in his career, not just one career, but two careers. Larry, thanks for coming to the show today.
Thank you so much, Melanie. It's my pleasure. And thank you for helping me become an international bestseller with our new book.
And I didn't mention that you're an international best-selling author with Entrepreneur Secrets. Congratulations on that.
You,
So let's walk through all that. Talk to us. How did you get started? Give us a little snapshot of your career and your background and where you are today.
I graduated college, right? Went to work for a company called a photo and sound company. Then it became Copycom Systems. And I was with them for 41 years. I got ready to retire because I just was not having a good time anymore. And my shrink suggested that I take 15 months before I quit and decide what I wanted to do. Got home, phone rang, one of my best friends from Dallas. I'll just shout out her name, Beth Sanders Moore. And she told me, hey, why don't you go? Guess what I got today? And I said, no idea. She goes, I got my real estate license. I said, hey, I could do that. How'd you do it? She told me what she did, went online, and I signed up for the course and started taking my real estate license. I had not been that happy in some time. So got the license. You came to me and we did a podcast about the transition. That's what caused the book to happen. So thank you very much. But I've been in real estate now since May of 21. And so this May, it'll be 5 years. Yeah, it'll be 5 years. And I'm having a ball. I literally am living my best life.
Yeah, you
I have
love, I
enjoyed
can
my
just,
career. Say that again.
I say, you can just tell you love what you are doing and have just taken off and are really been hugely successful in doing this.
Yep. But no, it is absolutely crazy. So I had a business partner to begin with, and I think that was the right thing to do. And last year, I branched off on my own, and I did $8 million last year in sales. I had 14 transactions, which is probably what I should say, not how much, but I had 14 transactions, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I had buyers, I had sellers, I had condos, I had standalone homes, townhouses, you name it. It was absolutely awesome. And it boils down to one thing, and you know this better than anybody. It's customer service,
And,
right?
I want to dive into that a little bit because you define excellent customer service. Tell everybody what you think excellent customer service is and what you've done, because you're really known for that, Larry. You truly are.
Thank you very much. I think you've got to take yourself out of the picture, number one.
Mhm.
And it's virtually impossible to anticipate every need of a client, but you
Mhm.
run down the road, you ask the right questions, you find out about them. It's great that I've
Yeah.
done what I've done in my career. It's great that I've got the book. All those things are great, but that's not what it's about. Client, find
Yeah.
out what their life is like, what their wants and needs are, and then listen to it. And then the key word, one of the big C's, communicate, communicate. You've got to listen, which, Melanie, I'm human. I love to move my mouth, but it's so important to what the old saying about God gave us 2 ears and one mouth and use them in that proportion, right? And so
Yeah.
I've gotten better at listening versus talking.
Now, see, isn't that funny? Because I think you're a great listener, but we're so critical of ourselves that you think, "Oh, I talk too much." But you're just such a great listener, and you're a great responder as well. You talk about showing up with the right attitude. So I had a story the other day. Someone said, "Oh my gosh, I went to the doctor, and this nurse had the worst attitude." And I said, "Dude, are you having a bad day?" She said, "Yes, I'm on a bad day." She goes, and I tried to give her a hug, and she goes, "I'm not a hugger." So how do you know, but you are so good at showing up with the right attitude to people, especially when you're serving people in the real estate business.
It's true. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I'm a big God guy. I think you know that. So it's God, it's therapy, and it's yoga. I mean, that's my big ones, right? But before my feet touch the ground in the morning, I have a gratitude moment, right? And it everybody has something to be grateful for. If you woke up, grateful. You woke up in a bed, grateful. You woke up in your own bed, grateful, right? If you've got clothes in the closet, if you've got food in the refrigerator, grateful, grateful, right? There's
Mhm.
always something to be grateful for. And that over the last few years, I've taken on this attitude of things are not happening to me, they're happening for me. So traffic, this could be happening for me, right?
Mhm.
Because if the traffic was flowing smoothly, there might be an 18-wheeler down the street ready to ram into me. So I'm a big believer that all these things happen for a reason. And
Yeah.
therefore, I'm Forrest Gump, right? In the box of chocolates. You
Yeah.
never know what you're going to get. And every day's like that. You just never know what's going to come your way. And I get excited by that because sometimes you have the answer, sometimes you don't. And it's okay. I've learned to say, I have that answer, but I'll get right back to you. And then the key, get right back to them with the
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, communicate with them. And, I love that, you're saying it happens for me, and that you're saying, like, this year is what you've been doing or recently you've been doing, and I've been saying everything always works out for me, kind of that same thing, marrying those 2 together. You have gratitude rituals. Do you talk about your gratitude rituals?
It actually started at my church. My pastor gave us these small books. It was a gratitude book, and it was a little small for me to write in, right? So I found on Amazon, of course, where you find everything nowadays, some larger books, and I started creating my own gratitude books. I put some advertising on there about Lary Barton, but one of them is there's always a reason to be grateful. There's always to be something to be grateful for, and a few little sayings like that. I put them in the book, and it made me start thinking that everything is something that is happening for us, and that's where that attitude started coming in. And so I began to see things that normally would have been, why did that happen to me? And then I started looking at the reason. Why is this happening for me? How
Mm,
can I turn this into a positive? What can I learn from this? And it's
mhm.
not always easy to do. It is not
Yeah.
the death of a family member, right? Losing my mother was one of the hardest things that ever happened to me, but it was also one of the most wonderful lessons that I've had. That time that you have with the special people in your life, take the time, right? The office will wait. That phone call will wait. You need to spend as much time as you possibly can with them before they leave this planet. And what do you say to everybody before you leave? I love you. It's the last words they heard from you, no matter what happens.
That's right. No matter, even if you're mad at each other, you still say, "I love you." And someone had told me the other day, we both took care of our moms, especially in their latter years. I mean, during the other time, but during that intense time when they were at the end of the door. And it's intense on anyone who's had to take care of their parent. And recently somebody was saying it was the best gift I ever got. And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I need to start saying that was a gift. That was such a gift that I had that time and that you had that time." And if you get that time with a parent, it's truly a gift. It is happening for you and you take all that with you. You
Melanie,
are,
we're going through that at the same time.
we were
Yes,
going
we
at the
couldn't
same
figure it
time.
out at the same time.
Yeah. It was, and then we came out of the clouds of that, and then the sun shined again, and then you're in that grief stage, repairing stage, and moving on without a parent in your life. Yeah, I think we had each
You
other
know,
for support for that.
when people say, I'm so sorry for your loss about my mom, and I said, she was 94, right? She had a
Yeah,
great life. I made sure she had everything that she ever wanted and then some. And how can
yeah,
you be upset about losing somebody that 94 years on this earth, was sick for 3 or 4 days, and went,
that's not bad.
no, exactly.
That's not bad at all.
Exactly.
And you talk a lot about paying it forward. Tell us your philosophy on paying it forward.
What goes around comes around. It's a simple saying, right? And you hear it all the time, but it's the
Mhm.
truth. So why not do something good when people say, oh, karma's going to happen to them. They're usually talking about somebody that did something bad. They're good, right?
Yeah.
My philosophy is we got the smile. You can give away a smile for free, right? And
Mm.
what do people usually give you back? A smile, right?
Mhm.
Or a nod or some acknowledgement that you gave away a smile. Um, it's funny. There's a high rise I have listed right now, and I got on the elevator the other day, and I've been in and out of the building for a couple of months, staging the apartment and getting it ready. And it's a very exclusive building, and so people pay a lot of money for their privacy and security. So I get on the elevator, and this lady goes, "You're Larry," and I said, "I am." She goes, "The management told me about you and said that I wouldn't have to be introduced, that when I saw you, that I would see sunshine." And she goes, "When you got on the elevator, I saw sunshine. And so I knew you were Larry." And when
Wow.
I hear those things, Melanie, it takes me aback because you never want to beat your chest, or you never want to, you hear things and you don't know how much value to place on it, right? But
Mhm.
over the years, lots of therapy, right? I began to believe those things because it is true. I am upbeat. It's not real. It is very real. On the days that it's not real, I do my best not to leave the house.
Oh, that's funny. But, sometimes we don't believe who we are. So you did do all the hard work to get there and step into your confidence and figuring out your confidence. All right, I'm going to talk about being a connector. So
Okay.
you are not just a connector, you are the connector. What does it mean to be a connector and how do I become one?
You know that old game called Operation?
Yes.
You would take the tweezers and you would remove the elbow and the this and the that. You go in there and you remove the ego. You take the ego out and you think to yourself, there's plenty to go around. So if
Yeah.
they're with another company, if they're a competitor, there's plenty to go around. And so
Hmm.
why not help those around you? If you found an easier way to do something, why not share that, right? And not hoard it. It's like the gifts that we were given from the man upstairs, right? Don't hide those gifts. Take them out and use them, and they grow and they grow. And so that's the philosophy behind it, is that, and in the back of my head, I do think somehow this will come back to me in a positive way. And that positive way is to hear somebody say, "You know what? That thing you told me the other day, I tried it and it actually worked." That's what makes me happy. Now, when they come back and say, "Remember, you made that deposit in my life by telling me that, or that new way to do marketing, or whatever it happens to be, and I
Yeah.
used it. And by the way, here's a new client. Here's whatever." When that happens, you don't expect anything to happen other than you did the right thing, right?
Yeah.
I think I think about it, Melanie, that sums it up. You do the right thing and you spread the joy and you spread the knowledge.
And I love what you said in our business too, publishing business. Some publishers are like guarded. I'm like, there's enough authors to go around. Everybody is different. You have to have that. It's endless, right? It's unlimited. There's an unlimited supply of customers. It's unlimited. So it's not that you have to be in competition and the right person is going to find the right thing. When you have that unlimited mindset, it's so much better. And you're so great at like, hey, oh, Melanie, you need a roofer. Got some roofers. Let me give you this guy. They might be the right guy for you. Oh, your car needs to be repaired. I got a guy to fix that. Let me connect you with so and so. And then what I noticed that you do, which I think other people should embrace, you're almost interviewing people when you meet them, and you're trying to find out how you can help them. It's not just getting to know them. You're like, "Oh, I'm curious about this person. I want to get to know them." But then you're asking questions of finding a way, where's their pain point? What can I do to help this person? Do they need social media? Do they need a roofer? Do they need, a friend? What do they need that I can put them together with when you meet somebody, which I think is a really unique characteristic. Not everybody has that, Larry. I don't even know if you know that you do that.
Melanie, only because my buddies tell me you ask too many questions of new people that we introduce you to. But I honestly care. I'm asking those questions not for conversation. I really actually want to know, because
Yeah.
that should be one of the joys in this life. Can you imagine if you help one person every day
Yeah.
with a being connected? Melanie, you know about this. You do it in your business, right? I mean, you know what it feels like to publish books. How many have you published?
Over
Your
3,000.
own.
Yeah.
But your books, how many have
Oh,
you
my books.
published?
I'm like a 16-time best-selling author. Yeah.
There you go, 16 books. The feeling, the joy of putting down some words on paper that come from your heart, that
Yeah.
made a difference in your life. And you're praying that somebody's going to pick that book up and it's going to make a difference in their life. And that's how you work with people. I've seen you work with people. I've seen you interview them. You did it with me, and you interview them and you bring out the very best in people. And all of a sudden it gets on paper and it gets published. And I think people are amazed of what came out of them and was put on paper because you're an expert. You
Well,
see that?
thank you, Larry. See, you're showing me the mirror today. Thank you. I love that.
But do you see that you do that? It's
Yeah.
not a secret. You know you do that. It's like
And
the
I
connect.
And I love doing that. I love being able to pull that out of people and make people shine when they can and open new doors and open new opportunities. And with this book, Expert Insiders, so many of the authors, it's their first podcast.
Yes.
So it's exciting for them to have that. All right. So we know life isn't all rosebuds and unicorns and rainbows and sunny skies. There's times that go wrong. Like I said, I'm going to stay in bed if I'm not feeling it today. What do you do when you're how do you get that shift to get back on those days? Sometimes we're just like, I am not feeling it. Like I feel pressure today, or I feel like I'm not in the zone. What are your secrets that you do to get yourself back on track?
I do my best to do the gratitude, right? If I can in the morning. And once again,
So let's say
it's
gratitude didn't work. Like, okay, I'm
yeah,
thankful, and then you
yeah,
feel like I'm
but I'm
having a
still not
shitty
feeling
day.
it,
Yeah,
right?
not
Okay.
there yet.
So you do, but you've read in books about you go turn on some mine is disco music. Give me some good old Donna Summer or some YMCA. Give me some great music that I can sing to. Or the other one I love, I grew up Baptist, right? And don't hold that against me, but I grew up Baptist and I'm now covering Methodist at Baptist at the Methodist Church. And so I turn on some of my spiritual music, right?
Mhm.
And Old Rugged Cross, Shall We Gather at the River, all those old songs that I knew as a child
Oh
that
yeah,
either evoke a good emotion. Not all good, not all emotions are good, but I would say crying
the
can be
potential.
good, right?
Yes.
They bring those tears up that have been bubbling up, that have been down there for a month, and you haven't gotten a chance to get rid of them, and here they come. Give me one of those Instagram where the soldier comes home and he goes to the kid's
Yeah.
classroom. And the dad walks in. He hadn't seen the kid in 2 years. Last night I stayed up until 1 o'clock watching those over and over again. They're all over Instagram of the mom coming home, the dad coming home from the military. I cried like a baby for 20 minutes last night. And so I think that's cathartic to get rid of
Yeah.
that. But it goes back to, once again, I am so grateful to be living my life right now. To think, I think, look, sometimes I say little Lary Barton. I'm at the ballet or the opera and I think little Lary Barton, right? How is
Yeah.
he doing the opera and eating dinner at the Founders Club? How is he taking a trip to Europe? How are all these things happen? And I think that the more good you give out, the more good that comes back. And if it's only another smile that comes back when you smile at them, I know it sounds like Pollyanna, and that's what my buddies call me. It's Pollyanna because I never see anything bad. Right?
Yeah.
But I tell them, don't watch the news, don't read the newspaper, and your life will improve 100%. Right? And so, how do I
True.
change those things? I listen to music. I dance like nobody's watching because hopefully Siri is not recording me, maybe my voice, but not recording me video, dancing around the house, crazy person. And it does the trick. I go to the club and I do yoga. That's another one, is get out and exercise, get out and walk. Hopefully that's a long answer to a short question, but
But
there
that's
it
what
is.
like Tony Robbins says, the first thing if you're having a bad day is change your physiology, and that's what you're saying. Change
So,
your physiology, move the body,
yes.
listen to a song, do something. So you're right on track with that. And I think some of us forget that. So if you are having a bad day, just remember, or just call Larry, okay? Or listen to one of his videos.
One of the things I heard the other day, and I just love this one, is if you're having financial problems, if you're having health problems, whatever problem you're having, go find somebody that's having a worse problem than you are and help them. And now you made two people happy. You've made the person that you help happy, and you've made yourself happier than you were because you helped somebody else and you lifted
Yeah.
them up, and that will lift you up. I know it sounds corny, but
I love it, and I love hanging around you. So, Larry, tell us, why did you want to be a part of this book right now? Why did it speak to you that now is the time I'm going to write a chapter in a book, and you're a part of Entrepreneur Secrets?
in 2021, when mom died, I was thinking about change. Actually, I had changed up. When she died,
Great.
she actually got to see me very happy in real estate, and she was very proud of that. But when she passed away, I thought there's not much in this world to be afraid of when that happens. So
Yeah.
why don't you just start saying yes and not be afraid of things? Just start saying
Mhm.
yes more often. Go out to dinner more often. Say yes to a friend to take a road trip. Just start saying yes. If it's legal, or commercially legal, right? But if it's legal, just say yes and go see what you might find. I love my home, and I would rather be here than anywhere else. It's my home. It's my castle, as they say. But
Right.
I started saying yes to more. So in the real estate, I hired a social media person to help me with that. I started doing video. I started actually doing videos myself and putting myself out there.
Yep.
And the numbers, the hits kept going up. And I thought, my social media person said, people like to see your face. I said, okay. They like to hear your voice. Okay. And so I just started doing more of that. When opportunities came up for me to go on my own, right? To no
Yeah.
longer have a business partner in the real estate, I was afraid. I didn't think I could do it on my own, but
Mhm.
I did. I'm having fun. The business is coming, and I'm taking care of my clients. So I think just starting to say yes, Melanie, has
Yeah.
really changed my life. And just saying yes to be busy is one thing. Saying yes for new experiences
Yeah,
and
that's the
trying
difference. It's saying yes to the right things to still have discernment and knowing
yes.
when, no, I like, I had this conversation with a friend yesterday that, hey, these groups have kind of grown out of these groups. Like these groups are still doing whatever activities, and I'm not into those activities anymore. I want to shift and go over here. And that's okay. So saying more yes to the things where you want to lean into, which is really what you've done, is done that. And look at all the joy around your face. You're joyful anyways, but you're even more joyful.
Look, when you said lean into it, that's one of those phrases that gets thrown around. But when you literally, fear has driven a lot of my life. It's driven a lot of people's lives as well. And so when you do face fear, once again, it's not really anything to be afraid of. Once you get there, it's really not the boogeyman, right? So by saying yes to more, I faced some of my fears
Yeah.
by doing things for me. Self
Mhm.
care is so important,
Ah, yeah.
right?
We
You
haven't
and I
touched
talk a
on that.
lot
Yeah,
is
we
finding that
need to
time
talk about that a little bit for self-care. And how do you prioritize that in your life?
on the calendar. If
Uh,
it's on my Outlook calendar, it's on my phone, it's on the computer, I prioritize it. I like to do yoga, right? And I like to
mhm.
do a lot of stretching. I love that. I think it's going to help me with a lot of things in my life. And
Yeah,
if I'm not at 100% health wise and mentally alert and all of that, and if I'm tripping over things because I'm not stretching enough, then
yeah,
that's an issue. It's going to affect my job, and I can take care of customers. It's going to affect my life and the things that I want to say yes to. Nearly noon, around noon every day, I go to the Estonian and I do yoga. And there's some amazing instructors there. And I get that hour, right? It's my lunch hour. I don't really eat lunch that often. And that's a great way to find time is you block it, just like it were a business appointment. And when people say, hey, Keith, can you do this? You say, I've got an appointment at the time. And you're
yeah.
not telling a story. You do have an appointment,
And you don't
right?
have to feel guilty that, "Oh, it's an appointment with myself, so I could cancel it off." You've gotta know your boundaries, that this is for me and I'm important.
If you don't fill your sponge up, right, or fill your bucket up, or whatever you call
Yeah,
it, with time for yourself,
yeah,
then you can't give that 150% that you and I give all the time, right? You can't give it. You got to go cocoon, right, in your home, wherever you do it. You got to go put that water back in your sponge and get vibrant again. So you can
Yeah.
go do it all over again.
Well, Larry, I just, I love you. I adore you. And you just light up the world. Like they said, the man of sunshine, you walk in and you're just like, the sunshine has just walked into the room. Tell people where they can reach out to you and connect with you in the different places that you're at.
So number one, Lary Barton Realtor, and that's Larry with one R, Lary,
Yeah.
Realtor, Lary Barton Realtor.com is my website. Then Lary Barton Realtor, all one word, is my Instagram. Lary Barton is my Facebook. And that's
And your
also my
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And he posts all the time, y'all, and it's always fun and fabulous telling real estate stories, and his positive energy is there. So make sure you
And
grab the
that's
book.
another thing. Oh, I'm sorry. That's another thing. I do my best to do the real estate stuff right, but it's also about my life, right?
Yeah.
If I've been to a great opera, a great ballet, if I've had a great restaurant, I posted the other day about a dear friend's memorial service in Palm Beach. And I post about different facets of my life because I am a real person.
Yeah.
I am real. And I have bad days and good days, but I think that the social media can get very negative, and
Mhm.
I like to think that mine is not. Mine's upbeat, it's positive, it's a Pollyanna channel, right? Reach out and follow me. I'd love it. I'm at 1804 right now followers. I'd love to get that up. So come and follow me.
All right. Thanks for joining us. And if you're looking to become an international best-selling author, reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Jen and I will be there to help you and get your story out of you, just like Larry said, and make you a bestseller. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.